All right, so tires just came in. So I got the Continental Extreme Sport Contact O2s, the same tires I had on the Camaro SS that I previously had. So 225/40 on the fronts, 255/35 on the rears, so factory tire sizing. And then I just finished removing the wheel weights from, obviously these have already been mounted and balanced before, so I just took the wheel weights off and cleaned the surfaces with alcohol prep, so that when the new tires get mounted and the wheel weights get put on, they'll stick really good. And also then the tire shop isn't removing the old wheel weights, because I don't want them using any scraper tools and possibly putting any marks on the wheels. So I removed the wheel weights just now with just a heat gun and then some Goo Gone, and it came right off. So I'm gonna load up the wheels and get over to the tire shop. Alrighty, so there we go. Tires are all mounted up. I'm over here at Wheel and Tire Connection in Orange County. Been using these guys for many years. They do a really good job. They have a touchless mounting machine, so you don't have to worry about them messing the wheel up when they mount the tires. So, yep, they did a great job as always. I saved the tires that I took off. I'll just sell those to recoup a little bit of money, because those are still like brand new. Get these home, I'll detail them later tonight, and then tomorrow I'm going to mount them up onto the car. So yeah, ready to go. So as close to perfect as these wheels are, there is one wheel that had the very, very smallest amount of curb rash that I noticed. It's actually in two places. There's about a 1-inch section right there. You can just see, just about feel it with your nail. It's barely caught the edge. And the same thing right here, very, very small, right on the edge. So didn't think it was serious enough to need to take it to a wheel refurb shop, because you really don't see it unless you're right up on the wheel and following the edge. So what I've got is I've got a whole bunch of different sandpapers, all the different grits you could possibly need. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with this really light one down here, and I'm just going to mask off the edge of the silver brushed spoke, and I'm just going to take a little bit of the finest grit that I have and see if I can just smooth this out. And then once I've got it as smooth as I can, I'm going to use some metal polishing paste and just go at it just like this for a good bit with a microfiber cloth to get the sheen back, and then we should be good. You know, it should be almost gone, hopefully. So I'll show you what my end result is. So right here and right here. So let's see what we can do. So I started with some 600. That's about as coarse as I want to go, because I don't want to put any deep scratches in the metal. It's just going to make my work a lot harder. And I just did maybe, I don't know, 20 seconds of very, very mild pressure with this, and we'll just wipe it here. As you can see, I taped the back of the spoke here that has the silver finish, because I didn't want to risk touching that. And that has almost completely got rid of all of those little scratches. So as you can see, it's kind of left a little bit of a kind of a matte finish to the edge here, but that's as aggressive as I want to go. I'm not chasing perfection. I just want it as close to invisible as possible. So I'm going to polish it up with some cream and let's see what the end result is. Okay, so the two areas that I was working on was right here and right here. So I just went over it with the 600 grit sandpaper, and then I followed it straight up with some of this metal polishing cream, which is really inexpensive. I picked it up from O'Reilly's. I used masking tape on the tire so I didn't get polishing compound onto the tire, because that would have been annoying to have to start scrubbing and cleaning that off. But as you can see, the end result is absolutely perfect. So no need to go and spend money at a wheel repair shop. It was really light scuffing, and I quickly managed to knock down the scratches with the 600 and then bring back the high polish sheen with the polishing cream. So now that that's finished, all of the wheels are 100% perfect. There is not a single nick or scratch on the outside of the wheels. They are perfect the whole way around. Anything that looks like scratches is actually just the tire mounting gunk. I went over these wheels meticulously when I bought them, and there was only one wheel that had anything on the edge, and that was this wheel, and just in those two spots. So now that I've corrected those, we are 100% perfect. So you wouldn't know that these are used wheels, honestly. These are so close to new. Now that I've taken that little bit of curb rash out, there is no nicks on any of the spokes, none in the lug pockets. There's just nothing. It's absolutely flawless, and all the wheels now are in the exact same condition. All of these are perfect, perfect, perfect. So yeah, good to go. Everything came out awesome with my little bit of curb rash repair. It is the next morning, bright and early. So the coating that I applied last night to the barrels should now be cured, so I can drive on the wheels. As you can see, I haven't put any tire dressing on yet. I would rather do that afterwards, so I don't have to handle greasy tires whilst I'm fitting things on the car. I have all of the hardware I'll be using set up over here. So these are the lug bolts that I bought. They're a 10.9 grade steel. They have the hex 17 bolt. Shank length is 40 millimeters. And the reason for that is because we're going to be using spacers, as I previously mentioned. So the stock bolt has a 28 millimeter shank. These have got a 40, so these have got 12 millimeters of extra length on the shank to allow for the use of this 10 millimeter spacer. So I had these spacers since I had the C450. They are specific for this application. So basically, what's important about these spacers is they have this lip on the hub, which is identical to the factory hubs that have the same lip extension. And the reason for that is that these wheels have to stay hub centric. If you do not have this on the hub, they would become lug centric, which may cause possible vibrations as they would not be centered correctly. So any spacer above about a 5 millimeter, you need to make sure that you have the hub extension, just like that. So these spacers are not cheap. I got them from OTIS INC LA, which I'll link below. These run for about $150 for a pair. They're excellent quality. As you can see, they're covered in anti-seize, but these still look just as good as the day that I bought them, and I ran them for many miles on the Mercedes I had previously. So that's all the hardware that I'm going to be needing. Everything else is good to go. I'll just have to pull the tire stickers off because they'll be hard to remove once they're on the car. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jack the car up. We'll take the first wheel off, and then I'll show you guys the first wheel going on. And then once it's all done, we'll get her out in the sunshine and I'll show you the finished result. So yeah, got my breaker bar ready. I'm going to jack the car up and we'll get started. All right, so wheel is off. As you can see, I used one of my wheel guide pins just to make sure I didn't scratch up the barrel on the caliper. Highly recommend these if you have lug bolts for your car. Slid one of those spacers on. As you can see, the factory rotor has about a 10mm lip. So this spacer maintains that lip for the wheel to stay hub centric. The sun is out. These wheels are looking absolutely gorgeous. I cannot wait to see how this looks on the car. To really do it justice, I'm going to wait until I have the car lowered and out of the garage, and maybe even put a little dab of tire dressing on them, so then you can really see what the end product is going to be. I am so looking forward to seeing how this is going to change the look of the car. I think these kind of titanium blue and purple hardware bolts, as well as the contrast between this brushed silver and the polished lip, is just going to complement this car so well. I am so hyped. Can't wait. So let's get it on, get it out the garage, and I'll show you guys what we end up with. So sneak peek, just finished with the first wheel. I'm getting it all bolted up. But look what I just noticed. My brand new H&R lowering springs, the blue matches the new BC forged hardware perfectly. How cool is that? I'm totally joking. I'm not that crazy. But yeah, pretty sweet to see my brand new lowering springs peeking through there. Anyone who hasn't seen any of my previous videos, this car did just get lowered on H&R Sport Springs. So it's about 1.2 inches lower than factory. So yeah, pretty cool to see those poking through. All right, I'm gonna get the job finished and roll her out the garage. So I just have two of the rear wheels next to each other here. And one interesting thing I wanted to just point out is the difference the tire makes as far as the tire style. Because the Pirelli P0 has this rim protector edge, which is like a deep channel that goes almost halfway to the out of the sidewall, and then it kind of dives backwards behind the rim. But from the front, when you're looking at the wheel here, it really makes the tire look super narrow at the bottom, and I really wasn't the biggest fan of that aesthetically, because it looked a bit awkward really on the front. It almost looked like the rim was sitting straight on the floor, whereas the Continental tire has a completely straight sidewall. Now obviously there is an advantage to this because it has a little bit of rim protection. That's kind of what it's designed for, but I do prefer this much flatter appearance. Now to be fair, this is a 9.5 wide, this is an 8.5 wide, so the tire is slightly stretched on this wheel, whereas this is more of a correct size for an 8.5 wide. But that doesn't affect the way the sidewall looks from the front. It's the same on the front wheels. When you look at it from the front, that sidewall just looks like it almost doesn't exist because of the rim protector at the bottom. Also, you can see this is a 9.5 wide. This is an 8.5 wide. They're not quite perfectly straight, but almost. So you can see the difference there. Same tire, 255 and a 255. It's just that this one is stretched, so that whole area of the sidewall here is basically just tapering outward to the rim. But I do prefer the style of the tread on the Continental, just because I like this grooving being a little bit wider, so it looks less of an all-season. It's the same thing with like a Michelin Pilot 4S. They have very closely grouped grip kind of tread grooves on the side, and it has like an all-seasoner look to it. I preferred the Michelin Pilot Super Sports visually just because they didn't have that kind of aggressive tread pattern on the side here. This to me looks far more summer and far more kind of sporty than this, which is more of an all-season look. So aesthetically, I also definitely like the way the Continental tire looks compared to the Pirelli. Just a little comparison there whilst I have the tires off. So anyway, going to finish off getting the rears fitted up and we'll be all done. All right, it's the next day. You guys ready to see the end result on the new BC forged two-piece wheels? I'm gonna let the pictures do the talking here. I'm gonna stay on this side of the car since the sun is right behind me. Honestly guys, I'm lost for words. These wheels have way exceeded my expectations. I was a little bit unsure as to how I would like the zinc or titanium colored blue hardware, but now that the wheels are on the car, the sun is out, it's a great day to show them off because the blue really pops on the wheels. It matches the car perfectly, and overall, this is just, in my opinion, I can't see myself topping this. I think the 19s are the perfect size for this car. They're not too big, they're just about perfect. The tire sizes, the factory sizes, they work perfectly for this car. The fitment is right on the money. We are flush front and rear. The H&R lowering springs, definitely. I would definitely say if you've got a C-Class coupe or sedan and you want to put aftermarket wheels on, lower it. Honestly, it makes such a huge difference, and it doesn't change the ride at all. It rides as smooth as factory, but visually, oh my goodness, I wish I'd done it to the previous Mercedes that I had, because this car looks so much better. Just with that 1¼ inch drop, it really tightens up the stance. It looks way more aggressive. Yeah, just worlds different. I absolutely love the lowering on this car. But just look at that side profile. We'll come around here. I mean, does it get any better than that? I mean, that's got to be tough to top that. Those wheels are so sharp. I love the spokes, you know, that they're so crisp and they go all the way to the edge of the rim. And the double stepped polished lips, they just put it over the top. It's such a crazy looking wheel. I hope this camera is doing these wheels justice in person, because these look absolutely insane. There's so much detail on them. So yeah, there she is. What an absolute game changer these wheels have been. I don't know about you guys, you can leave a comment below. Compared to the previous BC forged wheels that I had, these ones, in my opinion, are just in a different league. The two-piece style, the different face with the spokes, the hardware that's the titanium bluish purple. I think this is just taking this car to another level, in my opinion. And I couldn't be any more pleased with how this has come out. So as far as the finances go, if you order these wheels through BC Forge, they're going to charge you about $4,800. I got them quoted out with the same specs, and that was the price they came back with. And I got these for less than half of retail cost. Now, I did get them used. I got extremely lucky that they were in the great condition that they were in. Did not have to get any repair work done, apart from a little minor scuff that I fixed up myself. But I would not have been able to budget for these wheels if it wasn't for coming across the great find on Marketplace. And that's the way I like to do things if I can. You know, there's a great feeling when you can get something for a lot less than full price. And, you know, in my opinion, this is the best I could possibly do for this car. There's really nothing I can top in terms of wheels for it. You know, two-piece forged wheels, that's kind of the best that I can put on this. So money well spent, and I'm absolutely over the moon with how this has come out. you know, it really is. It's exceeded my expectations and it's transformed the car. I keep finding myself going back in the garage and looking at the car and going, wow, is that really mine? Did I really put this car together with these wheels on? Because it just looks insane. This is my first set of two-piece forged wheels that I've ever bought. I've seen plenty of other YouTubers put fancy wheels like this on their builds, and I've always thought I'd love to get a set, but I just didn't want to spend that kind of money. So to get some and finally put some on a car that I own is yeah, it's a great feeling because I've always wanted some. So there we go, guys. That's the end of the BC Forged wheel install, and I've got lots more stuff coming for this car. We're going to continue on the exterior, then later on I'm going to start digging into the interior. Just as you know, with my previous Mercedes, I took the seats out, I put some AMG Performance buckets in there, I put a whole load of carbon fiber, and I have a similar idea for this car as well. So stay tuned, there's more coming. This car is far from finished. But as far as the wheels go, I think we can put a fork in it and call it done, because I couldn't be any more pleased with how this has come out. So that's enough of my waffling. I greatly appreciate everybody who watches it, likes it, even subscribes. You guys are awesome. Please leave a comment on how you like the new wheels, and I'll be back with you guys really soon.